Hey guys, good evening and welcome to another meaningful episode of Health Revolution. Good evening, Tita Bets. Kumusta po?
Evening, DJ Raymond, and welcome to our show, Health Revolution. And today we have another episode wherein we also take care of the health of our businesses naman and our legal matters, di ba? Kasi nga stressful din yun di ba? Yung magkaroon ng mga problems, especially when it comes to legal issues. So we are very fortunate tonight that we have our special guest. Mga bata to, di ba, DJ Ray?
Yes, very young, energetic lawyers. Very charismatic leaders. Actually, they're also trainers. They are public speakers. Yun po yung first encounter namin nung na-interview kasi sa live TV because of this series of events that they are part of. They're from, pero they are lawyers, mga UP graduate, magkaklase ito sa UP Law. Tapos they came up, they established their own firm, and they have this company and website and very active social media, Legal Guide Philippines. So papakilala natin ang dalawang hunks from Legal Guide Philippines. Of course, no less than Attorney Erwin Zagala and Attorney
Ramon Ramirez. Hi.
Ramon.
Hello.
Afternoon. Good evening, Attorney Erwin, Attorney Ramon. O nga sabi ko, fellow Maroons. Tinan mo mag-guestan sila, nakaturno pa sila. Ang galing, no? Talagang pagbata.
Tito Bets, hindi masyadong halata na maroon. Hindi masyadong halata.
Bias. Hindi naman. Hindi naman Blue Eagle. But I'm pretty sure, and I've heard, you have already been doing online, how would you call it, advisories, even before the
advocacy, Tita Bets. What we try to do is, what we know about the law, we try to distribute it to as many people as possible. Kasi alam namin, marami sa Pilipino, uhaw na uhaw po for proper legal education. Would you agree?
Yeah, I do. Siyempre, diba? Yan yung palaging pinag-aawayan ng away, di ba? There's always a gray area. That's why something happens, right? Siyempre, iba pa yung usapan na gustong i-manipulate yung kung ano yung tama. But then, sometimes kasi, some problems naman, or even for some people, once you explain it to them, kaya nga mabuti nga yung di ba, nagkaroon ng mediation na there's a process of mediation in court. Actually, that's good kasi kung minsan through the mediation process, they already come to terms and come up with a compromise settlement. Otherwise, di ba yung mga laws, yung mga lawsuits, sometimes it takes so many years. Tapos ganun rin lang pala yung kalalabasan. Kawawa talaga yung the people involved in the cases, diba?
I agree with what you just said, Tita Bets. Actually, speaking of mediation, I agree na minsan kapag napaliwanagan lang, kapag napag-usapan, a lot of conflicts can be resolved. And what we're trying to do, Tita Bets, is we're trying to mediate then between people's needs and what the law says. Kasi for the most part, from our experience po, would you agree with this, Attorney Ramon? Ano? Kapag ang tao po kasi naiintindihan na kung ano yung sinasabi ng batas, options naturally appear.
Yes. Correct.
Kapag, ito pala sinasabi ng batas. And then from that point onwards, nakikita nila, okay, at dahil ito yung sinasabi ng batas, may option 1, option 2, option 3, option 4, dumadami po yung options. And usually po, ang tao kapag nakikita na yung options, they get empowered to do something about it. So that's what we're trying to do po with Legal Guide Philippines.
I should really commend you on your advocacy. Yung mga bata kasi ngayon, I like the young people at the very start of their career, they already, they already try to find a purpose, kumbaga, in their profession. Tayo kasi dati, nahala tayo in that. Before kasi, syempre, parang it's more of, okay, this is my profession, so I make a living out of it. But I'm glad to know that, people as young as you are helping everybody actually. And ngayong there are a lot of issues during this pandemic. Most especially, I think the first thing is, the government is encouraging everybody to become an entrepreneur. So lahat sabi nila, okay, I want to go into business, okay? But then, ang problema, madaming problema ang business. Kaya nga sabi natin, not everybody is born to be a natural entrepreneur or lahat naman tayo may role sa buhay. But then, but it would be nice to know, like for example, you are born to be lawyers, diba? Giving legal advice. So whatever we choose, whatever path, whatever role we want to play, I think we should always be guided by the legal matters. Kasi yan yung one aspect na hindi talaga pwedeng mawala in any, diba? Actually, in any profession, businessman ka, professional ka, ayun. So,
artist.
Artist, yes. So ngayon naman, during this pandemic, I think the foremost question that MSMEs would have is, let's go to the basic, diba? What are the health protocols mandated by DOLE? Of course, iba yung kunyari, I am a magnanimous employer, something like that. So I can give you all the perks and all the help that I can, no? But basically lang, let's start with the basic. What are the health protocols or what are the health laws that the DOLE mandates?
Okay. So I hope you guys are ready for this. And one tip, whenever we do guestings like this or sharings, we recommend one thing for our listeners. Before we start, we would advise, kuha po kayo pen and paper. That way you guys can take notes. Because we believe that whatever we say, if you participate by writing, it will stick further. That's true. So Tita Bets and Raymond, do you guys agree with that?
I'm ready.
Okay naman. Okay.
Pen and paper.
So what we'll try to do this afternoon is kind of give you guys a crash course. What's the word? Crash course. Mabilisan lang na reminder of everything that you need with regard to, COVID protocols. And I think, Tita Bets, this is a perfect place to start. Kasi usually, Attorney Ramon, di ba, mga tanong ng tao, di ba, dapat daw sumunod tayo ng health protocols.
Pero ano ba yung susunod?
Oo, yun ang tanong. Ano yung susundan? So this is the first thing that I want you to write down, and that is Labor Advisory 18, Series of 2020. Bihira po ako magbigay ng assignment, pero for this case, if you guys are business owners, this is worth writing down. That's Labor Advisory 18, Series of 2020. Dito po kasi umiikot yung health protocols na kailangan ng mga negosyante. Now, why is this important? Sabi nga, di ba, Attorney Ramon, kung hindi mo alam kung ano yung health protocols, paano ka susunod?
Exactly.
And kapag hindi mo nasunod ang health protocol, ano ang pwedeng mangyari?
You might violate it.
You might violate it. And the funny thing, actually it's not funny, the serious thing about COVID, mabuti kasi kung sakaling yung mga vina-violate mo, pwede may penalty lang. Pero ito kasi ibang usapan to. If you violate this, buhay po kasi yung nakatapat. Right. That's why we're stressing the point. You really have to pay attention. Now, there's good news and bad news when it comes to Labor Advisory 18. Would you like to know, Attorney Ramon?
Yes, please tell me, Attorney Ramon.
The bad news.
Oh, bad news first.
Medyo magbabasa ka talaga ng guidelines. Di ba? You want to know the good news?
Good news, please.
Sa sobrang tagal na natin dito sa pandemic, wala na pong bago rito. It's just a matter of recalling and implementing, making sure that all of these are in place in your business. For example, so dadaanan ko pa unti-unti yung salient points po ng Labor Advisory 18. Yung sa number 1, kapag sinabi kong health protocol, Attorney Ramon, ano una mo naiisip?
Face mask.
Face mask. So Labor Advisory 18 starts off with the requirement of face mask.
Yep.
Both for your employees as well as yung mga pumapasok po dun sa mga establishments. Face mask has to be a must. Now, in addition to that, Attorney Ramon, ano pa ang pwede natin sabihin tungkol sa face mask? Sino ba ang taya dyan?
Kanya-kanyang bili ba? Or merong bibili?
Ako.
So,
Ano po sa tingin ninyo? Tingin ko may hula kayo kung anong dapat gawin.
KKB ba? Or
siguro, depende.
Sa tingin ko KKB.
SMB.
Well,
Siyempre, negosyante ako eh. Gusto ko KKB.
wala mo din kay Dole. It's supposed to be the employer's lookout to provide the face mask. But here's what I'm seeing. Here's what I'm seeing po in real life. Usually po, nagiging KKB po yung laban. You know why? Kasi usually yung mga empleyado, galing bahay pa lang, di ba? Nakamask na. So usually may bit-bit na yan papunta. However, this is how we would balance it. Let us give an example as to what we do here in the office. Dito sa office, kunwari nasira, napigtas, or naluma na yung face mask mo, there's a ready supply of face masks across the door and face shields across the door. So kung kunwari gusto magbaon ng empleyado, walang problema yan. It's always available. So I think that's a reasonable balance between the two. The employer should make it readily available kasi technically speaking they should, but more often than not, yung mga empleyado nagkakanya-kanya rin naman ang bilihan.
Kasi may mga personalized pa, attorney, di ba?
Oo.
So, kailangan naman pati yung bili ng employer.
That's true. Yan. So another thing,
yung fashionista, gusto nila turno yung ano nila, sa damit nila.
Bahala na kayo. So,
tama nga yun. Probably, kasi nga, well, if we follow strictly I don't know, I haven't read it, no? But pag sinabi mong it is the employer's lookout, parang monitoring ang ano nun ang dating sa akin.
No, let me rephrase it. Employer shall provide the appropriate face masks. Wala na pong tanong doon.
Baka pagalitan tayo ng lahat ng employer nito.
Statutory construction pa si Tita Bits.
Kala ko subject to interpretation.
That's why actually, Tita Bits, going back to what I said, we would always recommend that business owners, they go back to this advisory. Hira po ako mag-assign, but for this one, I think it's worth their time. Kasi there are a lot of small things. Buti nga po na-bring up ninyo yun. But it's very important that employers are knowledgeable about the phrasing kasi, tsaka ano ba yung requirements. And ito po, wala akong balak daanan isa-isa to kasi I can assume that everyone can read, di ba? It's not my job naman na basahin pa to for you, but it's just to give you guys a sense of what is required and just to give you a very quick reminder.
Pero in that case, ako naman, kasi there should also be equality in the law, di ba? Kasi kung naman, I think kung ganun naman ang ano ni Dole, we just have to follow. But I think government has to control the price of face mask. Diba?
That makes sense.
Right? Ibalik nila sa dating presyo. Ang dating presyo ng face mask, piso nga isa eh. Okay lang naman if you provide 1 peso for each employee a day. I think that's manageable by the employer. Kasi kung kunyari kagaya ng unang pandemic, magkano 25 pesos ang no umabot ng 25 pesos yata yung face mask. Paano na yan? Hindi nga ganun kalaki ang kinikita ni employer. Ang mangyayari niyan kasi it causes a ripple effect, in other words. So syempre, di ba? Pag malaki yung gastos, yung gagawin ni employer, di babawasan ko yung tao ko. Kung, di ba? And then, pag pinawasan niya yung tao niya, at the end of the day, if talagang wala ding negosyo, di lahat walang trabaho. Wala ding negosyo, wala ding trabaho, di ba? So
Siguro Tita
anyway,
Bets, just to put things into perspective, this labor advisory was released during the start ng pandemic. And I think the more that time passes, the more that equilibrium between all of the interest groups would be achieved. Siguro po at some point in the future, that can be taken into account na, sige, requirement, pero ayusin naman natin yung pricing. So,
dapat
I think
i-review,
in the
no?
future,
Dapat i-review na rin. So I think it takes also legal minds to help the the dole. They can also come up with 'di ba, of kasi after almost 2 years, 1.5 of practice, siguro naman we can see what are the practical ones that has to be followed and what has to be deleted already. If you want to go back to normal, unless ayaw talagang mag-normalize, but di ba, if you want to be normal, we do that. So, face mask lang yan. Attorney Erwin and Attorney Ramon, ano pa yung ibang i-consider?
Yeah, let's go for other items here. And dito, Attorney Ramon, kung sakaling may sakit
okay,
sa office.
Well, employers are required to report monthly to their respective DOL regional offices yung mga list of yung mga illnesses and disease or injuries na nagkaroon sila in their workplace. Okay, para for monitoring din ng DOLE.
Tapos ito naman, parang nangyayari rin pala sa trabaho, no? Parang yung pagpapasok ka sa mall, ano ginagawa pag nasa mall?
Temperature check.
Temperature check.
Yeah, temperature. So testingin nga natin yung mga yung mga listeners and viewers. Sige nga, anong temperature ba yung medyo delikado tayo?
37.8.
Yung sinat.
Mataas yata yung 40.
Compulsion na yun.
37.8, may fever ka na.
Yes. But for purposes of the advisory, it's 37.5. Ngayon, kung 37.5 and above, bawal ka naman papasukin. Hindi, may second chance pa. Kasi, baka mainit lang nung naglakad, di ba? So,
actually,
upo ka muna dyan for 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
Minsan, bibilad ka sa araw, pagpasok mo, pag-check sa'yo, mataas. Pero dyan ka muna sabi ng guard. Tapos na may check ulit. Okay, down na.
Sa totoo lang yung mga scanner naman na yan, sira-sira na Palagi naman
so far dito sa amin area, okay naman sila lahat.
Palagi 36.2. Naman, imposible naman 36.2, 36.3. But anyway, so parang dapat yan nga, well, as a naturopath practitioner, we wanted that removed actually. Kasi it is not, sabi nga nila, yung scanning, hindi siya maganda actually. May siya, sabi ko nga, if it doesn't give a good result, di ba? And then there might be some adverse effects, why use it? So, dapat yan, kumita lang dyan yung mga nagta-temperature scanner.
Okay.
Medical supply po yun. Okay.
Let's move on, Attorney Ramon.
Okay.
So another guideline provided by the labor advisory is in terms of yung ating clinical staff kung meron in the workplace. So these guys, of course, they should be provided with their own isolation area because sabi nga ni Attorney Erwin earlier, pag merong 37.5 and above, kailangan ng i-isolate man lang, no? So they should have their own isolation area, and of course, kung may clinical staff ka or clinic staff, dapat the employer provides them with all the appropriate medical grade PPEs. Okay, so ano ba yung PPEs? Yan yung mga face mask, goggles, face shields, and gloves, no? And whatever is appropriate. So that is to be provided by the employer.
Nabanggit din yung disinfection. Siyempre, yung mga papasok na equipment, mga vehicles, kasama yan.
Yes.
Now, ako may pop quiz po. Ito, mahilig ako sa pop quiz.
Okay.
Yan. Social distancing is required po in the workplace. True or false?
Kailangan yan. Actually,
dapat lang. True.
in my
1 meter, di ba? 1
mas
meter
pinakamalakas ang transmission.
Baka magulat po kayo sa sagot. Baka magulat po kayo sa sagot.
Hindi siya
The answer
required.
is false. You know why?
Oh.
Social distancing is not under the law. It's supposed to be physical distancing. Yeah. So the proper term is physical distancing. Actually, ang daming nagkagulo
There's something wrong with that definition nga, no? Social
Sabagay.
distancing.
Oo.
Parang medyo malabo. Vague.
Yan.
Tama naman sinabi ko 1 meter so that's physical.
Well, yes.
So,
in connection with that, businesses are also advised to reduce or avoid meetings muna at saka yung face-to-face na nag-uusap. So, pwede, wag na muna. And in addition, the law is encouraging work from home. So the keyword there is encouraging. It's not requiring. Kasi there arose a misconception sa ibang mga empleyado. Oh, dapat sinasabi na ng amo namin na pwede na mag-work from home. Bakit hindi kami pinapayagan? No, the word is encouraged. The law, I think, this is my own interpretation. Alam kasi din ng batas na hindi ganun kadali to transition from, doing business live, face-to-face, and doing something na pwede kang may allotment for work from home. That's why the phrasing was encouraged. So if your company is able to do that right now, say thank you. Napakalaki po ng effort to be able to convert a business into work.
Some work cannot be done at home. Number
That's
one,
also true.
Oo.
That's also true.
Number two, yung may mga naalala ko tuloy, natatawa. Nakita niyo na ba yung may isang poster na work from home siya pero natutulog? Tapos naglagay siya ng manikin na ulo.
Oh,
Did you see that poster na? So, di ba, yung dahil Filipino culture talaga mahirap Or kung minsan tatawag ka, work from home, naglalaba. Oh, paano na yan, di ba? So, I think, it's appropriately called encourage nga. Kasi nga, not all the work can be done at home. Ayun. And then the Zoom meetings naman, sa totoo lang, nakakahilo kaya. Ang dami-daming Zoom meetings naman ngayon na everybody's getting, eye problems already. Tapos also, ang hirap din nun na buong araw nakaupo ka doon sa harapan ng computer doing the Zoom. So, anyway, sabi naman ng law, encourage lang naman.
Encourage.
So Tito Bets, I think the concept there, kasi hindi naman tayo limited to work from home lang. So the concept there is alternative work arrangements. Okay? So the concept there is alternative work arrangements and kasama dun yung work from home. It could be other things depending on what your business is kasi. So it could be like working hour shifts or may mga ganong klaseng, you make alternative arrangements na to make it easier and make it safer.
Pwedeng rotation. Para hindi nagkikita-kita, but work is getting done.
Right.
Yeah. Paano kung ayaw sumunod?
We can talk about that later. That's something we will be discussing in one of the later questions. But for now, parang I wanted to cap this off with siguro a few more na nandito po. So, again, to be clear po, hindi ko matatapos lahat ito kasi medyo mahaba. Pero
yung
we just wanted
lang,
to,
Erwin.
We just wanted to highlight some of the things, such as yung pag-test po ng workers. Ayan. So, it's encouraged and ito po, responsibility ng employer. Para lang po malinaw. It's at the employer's.
Pero yun with COVID, pwede naman yung antigen test kits, not necessarily naman PCR swab, di ba?
PCR, which is so expensive kasi. Yung saliva test po, accepted na naman siya ngayon.
Pwede na yung antigen. Kasi so far kami, with antigen test kit, so far medyo okay naman siya The results are medyo okay. Na normally pag sinabing positive tapos and then we send them to RT-PCR. Pero pag negative, diyan ka na lang muna.
That's true. And I wanted to mention, ito isa pang encouraged na group ng people. Kung ikaw medyo pasok sa vulnerable groups such as 60 years old and above or with comorbidities or pre-existing illness, highly encouraged po to work from home muna.
Ano yung pre-existing illness, Attorney Erwin?
Well, hypertension, diabetes. Ayan. Cancer. Ayan, yung mga medyo medyo
high risk.
mabigat po yung karamdaman. Yeah, so those people are considered vulnerable and they are encouraged, well, to work with management para work from home. So I hope that gives you guys an idea. As I said, the good news is wala naman ditong bago eh. Sa tagal po natin kasi under these conditions, familiar na yan. It's just that from time to time as business owners, it would do you well to read and review. Baka lang may mga na-miss out.
Hindi, tsaka kung minsan nakakalimutan. Parang for
Sa dami
example,
po.
like, parang kung minsan, like for example, yung temperature testing. Sabi ko nga, di ba, medyo ayaw naman natin nagte-temperature testing. So, kung minsan, di na siya ginagawa. Pero kunyari, biglang meron, umubo dyan sa office ako, bigla na lang lahat, nagte-temperature testing, lahat oximeter reading.
Reactionary talaga, reactive talaga tayo, Pilipino.
Pero in our office, we give them also like vitamins, kasi supplements kami, health, we give them supplements, we give them vitamins, we teach them also how to prevent COVID. Ayun. Pero those are hindi na responsibility ng employer yon, di ba? Pero may question pala. Pwede bang sabihin ng employer na pag hindi mo to, like for example with the vaccination, pwede bang sabihin ng employer na if you are not vaccinated, you cannot come to work?
It's actually a gray area right now, and here's the reason. One of the advisories states na, I just forget what number, but you cannot require or discriminate against employees na hindi pa vaccinated. However, there are other advisories from the IATF na sinasabi, sige, yung ibang businesses, pwede na kayo mag-operate, pero may condition. Vaccinated. So, paano po tayo doon? So, there seems to be a disconnect there or gray area. And the way I would reconcile it is, employees, you're free to choose whether you want to be vaccinated or not. No problem. However, you have to be mindful that there are consequences po for every choice. So kung sakali na you're not vaccinated and the business is not permitted to operate kung hindi vaccinated, well, di ba? Parang medyo kailangan natin balansehin yun. Na you can't have it both ways. So that's
yung parang that's another topic I think we'd like to talk about. Yung parang can an employer fire an employee if the employee does not follow the health protocols mandated by the office? Kasi syempre yung office.
Can you give me an example, Tita Bets? Ano po yung hindi sinunod kunwari?
Parang kunyari sinabi mo na pag you have to be isolated. Kunyari, your temperature today is 37.5 kasi sabi na 37.5 kailangan i-isolate na siya, di ba? So assuming yung hotel yung office, let us say they don't have isolation quarters, pero there are a lot of isolation hotels naman na pwede naman dalhin doon.
Okay.
So sasabihin nung nga pala, by the way, pag ganyan pala, who pays for the isolation, the hotel, let us say?
I'm not actually sure. There are some LGUs po kasi who shoulder the isolation expenses.
Okay.
So, hindi po ako sure. I think it will be decided on a case-to-case basis. Parang medyo hesitant ako to say na, dapat employer yan because I'm not sure.
Kasi hindi siguro magkakaroon ng question kasi if employer and employee, kung si LGU ang magbabayad, I don't think there will be anything to discuss. If you're the employee, syempre punta ka doon. Actually, yung LGU pa nga ang pwedeng magdala sa'yo doon, di ba?
So far, Tita Bets, kasi lahat ng mga cases na encounter ko or kinonsulta sa akin, the LGU seems to be shouldering the expenses. So
they're mandated yata to do that. They have this BHERT also, Barangay Health Emergency Response Team.
So ngayon
from the LG.
I could be wrong. It might not apply to everything, but based on the things that I've encountered so far, parang ganun po yung case. But going back to your example, Tita Bets, that's very interesting. So, nag-violate. So, hindi
kasi
nag-isolate.
Diba, kailangan, kunyari, let us say, let's put the LGU out of the picture. So, ako si employer. Sabi ko sa employee, today your temperature is 37.5. Kailangan mag-isolate ka. And then, para mabigyan lang ng parang penalty or resistance from the employee. Sasabihin ni employee na, hindi, ayaw ko hindi pwede kasi I have to pay for the isolation, di ba?
Okay.
Kunyari lang, kasi nga wala si LGU sa picture. Kasi I can think of another example right now. So, paano yan? Kasi ayaw ni employee Sabi ni employer, hindi, mag-isolate ka kasi ang daming ibang tao na
So may tanong po ako, Tita Bets, dito sa kaso natin. Pumasok po ba? Nagpilit pumasok yung tao?
Oo, di ba? Actually, come to think of it, may mga pumapasok na meron silang symptoms
No. Dito sa example po natin, pumasok po ba yung tao o hindi?
Oo, pumasok.
Diba?
Okay. Nag-violate na siya.
Okay, so in that case, there are two things that I would point to. Number one, may protocols po ba which have been issued by the government which would be relevant in addition pa dun sa mga internal protocols. In this case, tingin ko yes, di ba? May mga nirelease po kasi si DOH na mga guidelines na kapag ganito yung nararamdaman mo or you were exposed or something like that,
hindi ka napapasok, di ba?
that's number one. And then the second thing that I would look for is may business impact po ba yung actions ng empleyado? In this case, tingin ko, yes. Why do I say that?
Kasi lahat ng kasama niya.
Kasi ito po kung kunwari positive ka sa COVID, ang daming madadamay At trabaho mo, posible yung operations ng buong kumpanya, customers, even the supply chain po apektado. So there is definitely a business impact, correct? So in this case, I'm seeing two things. Number one, nagkaroon po ng violation of government regulations and orders. By extension po, itong government orders, pasok din to or nakasaklaw din po ito sa internal rules ng mga negosyo. So there's a violation there. And then number two, may business impact. Why is this important? Kaya ako po tinanong sa inyo kung pumasok Kasi kung sakaling ayaw niya mag-isolate, pero nandun lang naman sa bahay, parang mahihirapan ako i-link yun sa trabaho. And the question
kasi
is...
Kasi wala siya Di ba nasa bahay siya? So kung nasa bahay siya, doon lang siya.
I don't think may impact po sa sa trabaho. And kung sakaling walang impact sa trabaho, walang relation.
Oo.
I would say na hindi po pwede ma-sanction yun. Parang I'm not seeing it. But in this case, dito po sa example na binigay ninyo, mukha pong may connection Nag-violate ka na ng government rules, which has an impact doon sa negosyo. I think that person can be disciplined po.
Can he be fired? Iba kasi yung fired, iba yung discipline. Pero, before, I think pwede tayo, we can discuss it further later after we take a short break.
Sige po, mag-break na tayo. Okay. So, here we go. Don't go away, guys. So this is getting so very interesting. Yeah, at napakarami nakaka-relate. So, here we go. We'll be back after this.
Ikaw ba ay may problema dahil sa bad bacteria? Mayroong solusyon para sa'yo, huwag mag-alala. Subukan mo na para may good digestion ka. Happy life sa EP10.09. Para laging mas happy ako dyan.
Mahalagang paalala, ang 15-Biota ay hindi gamot at hindi dapat gamitin panggamot sa anumang uri ng sakit.
Kung puso ang problema, break the bad habits. Move on na para sa healthy heartbeat. Sa Big 5-0, tara na, let's all be fit. Mega healthy sa Omega 963. Para sa heart nutrient deficiency. Sa Big 5-0, strong ang heart and body. Sa Big 5-0.
Nakamubon ka na't kumanda? Sa Big 5-0, puso mo ay alagang-alaga.
Mahalagang paalala, ang Big 5 o ay hindi gamot at hindi dapat gamitin panggamot sa anumang uri ng sakit.
Anak, anong gusto mong juice?
Ang gusto ko, veggie juice kasi gusto juice, gusto ng lahat. Ang veggie juice na pampasigla ng katawan. Nasa gusto na ang lahat. May gulay na, may prutas pa. Ito na ang sustansya. Vitamin ay kumpleto. Ikaw Mama, gusto mo?
Uminom na ng isang baso ng sustansya. Kompletong sigla para sa ating pamilya. Gusto Veggie Juice, your yummy veggie drink.
Mahalagang paalala, ang gusto ay hindi gamot at hindi dapat gamitin panggamot sa anumang uri ng sakit.
And we are back.
Right.
Yeah, very interesting.
So we were talking about, di ba, yung yung
Ang dami nating learnings dito, Attorney Ramon and Attorney.
whether
Thank you so
yung
much.
whether
Ayan
sabi
po.
ko nga young ideas. So I like talking with young people.
Yes.
So and they're able to present it in such a way na it's a both employer side and employee side. Even in law, we have to be fair, di ba? We take care of the employer, we have also to take care of the employee.
It's the only
Yun-
sustainable way to operate law, we've found.
Yes.
Very true.
Oo,
Over
correct.
12 years of practice, kung hindi po
Mhm.
kasi kayo papatas or pupunta sa gitna, it will not survive.
Tama. Well, anyway, I always say it's up to the employer to do values education. I've been encouraging that even with TESTA. Sabi ko, gawa naman kayo ng program on values education para the employees, they appreciate what the government, the employer is doing for them. And then at the same, so that way, it's a win-win situation na kasi it has to take both. Diba? Kailangan the employee is happy working, make it a happy place, diba, at work. And then, the employer naman, I'm pretty sure naman, the employer naman, kung kumikita naman, they will share naman their blessings. So, in much the same way, there are also a lot of young people who are entrepreneurs. So, I think that is going to be the change in the business scene. Pero back tayo sa the law. Kaya lang kasi the law always says, okay, you follow due process. Kasi diba we were talking about yung whether pwede nga siyang iba kasi yung discipline, di ba? Sabi ko, discipline it's okay, pwede mo sabihin na okay, you will be suspended for how many days, ganyan, di ba? But paano yun kung like yung tao biglang, for example, yung March we started the lockdown, di ba? In March 2020. So we are already going towards hopefully normalization in the very near future. What happens to those employees who just did not report for work starting March 2020?
So, dito sa example na to, Tita Bets, ano po ang nangyari? No contact at all?
Hindi matawagan? O ayaw lang pumasok?
Well, actually, meron yung iba ayaw pumasok na for example, let's say yung mga in sales, yung mga in sales kasi kailangan nilang lumabas, di ba? Hindi ka makagawa ng sales effectively kung hindi ka you don't meet the client o you don't meet the customers o mga merchandisers, mga ganyan. So yung iba parang bigla na lang hindi pumasok, di ba? So meron din
back
yung
to the
iba.
question po, Tita Bets, may communication po ba from the employer or talagang parang radio silence, biglang walang sagot or hindi na matawagan? Ano po ang naging diskarte ng mga empleyado? So that we can provide some context and possibly some legal information about
So
this.
for example, if let's say sinabihan naman na there's no work for now, 'di ba? Kasi nga like for example, if their work is parang yun na nga promodizers, ganyan. So temporarily the stores are closed, diba, at that time. So and then let's say after a few months nagkaroon ng tinatawag na sila to there's an event or something or you come to work, ganyan. Tapos they refuse to come to work. So what happens? That is considered na siya kasi hindi ayaw pumasok Hindi man natin mapilit, di ba? Yung iba natakot kailangan ma-vaccinate muna ako bago ako pumasok.
So, a few things which are standing out for me. Number one is the length of time. Actually, not a lot of entrepreneurs know this, but you are entitled to put your employees on floating status. Floating as in lumulutang. What does floating status mean? Ibig sabihin nito, wala akong maibigay na trabaho sa iyo right now. So hindi kita tinatanggal. Kumbaga sa basketball, bench ka muna. Upo ka muna doon. Ihahanap kita ng trabaho.
No work, no pay yan? Ganon?
No work, no pay, syempre.
Because wala tayong pinapatrabaho. Now, Now, you may be
Especially
thinking,
nowadays.
hala, attorney, so pwedeng gawin yan as much as the employer wants? Di ba parang unfair naman yan dun sa empleyado? So what the law did, medyo gumit na ng konti yung law. Sinabi ng batas, okay, employer, alam naman natin na hindi naman talaga tuloy-tuloy. And sometimes it really happens. And alam kong mamamatay ang negosyo ninyo if you have to keep for paying for the salaries of employees na hindi naman gumagalaw right now. Correct? At the same time, on the other end, sinabi rin ng batas, employees, alam din naman namin na unfair din naman na parang as long as they want, pwedeng nakabitin ka dyan in limbo. Hindi mo man lang alam kung may trabaho ka pa or wala. So what the law did, lagyan na lang natin ng solution sa gitna. Lagyan natin ng time limit. So I'm very particular po dun sa example ninyo. Di ba sabi ninyo, after a few months, biglang nagkatrabaho uli. Because the limit for floating status is 6 months. How many? 6 months. And so, sa 6 months na po, yes. Kung by 6 months, hindi pa rin kita mahanap ng trabaho. O, kailangan na kitang tanggalin under authorized causes for termination. And dahil kailangan kitang tanggalin without your fault, lumalabas po, I have to give you separation pay. Which, actually, incidentally, yan po yung video na nilabas namin this week under www.legalguide.ph. We talked about separation pay this week. So, if you guys are interested in that topic, I would highly encourage that you visit the website. Libre po yun. Libre po yun.
Tony, very timely yun, ha? Very timely yun ngayon. Ang dami kasi mga ganyan po issues. I have a question pala before we proceed na pala.
Ay, sir, ituloy ko lang. Kasi I need to be able to complete the picture para po para maayos po yung transmission ng information. So, within the 6 months, kung nahanap kita ng trabaho, resume to work yun. Papadalahan kita ngayon na, report to work ka na or return to work memo or order. Now, ito naman papasok ma'am, yung example ninyo. Anong gagawin natin kapag ayaw sumunod sa return to work order? It's the same as normal work day. Pinapapasok mo yung tao, ayaw sumunod. So in that case, ayaw mo sumunod. May order dito. Parang dalawa nakikita kung pwedeng kalagyan ng sitwasyon na to. It can either mature into an AWOL case. AWOL meaning pinapapasok ka na, ayaw mo sumunod. So pwede ka kasuhan eventually and matanggal because you chose to abandon your work. So that's one possibility. Another possibility is pwede ka ring matanggal under just causes. Under what ground? Pwede pong insubordination or willful disobedience. So advice po sa mga empleyado na ganito, kung sakaling medyo diskumpiyado po kayo or ayaw ninyo, huwag po ninyo babaliwalain yung mga orders. The better way to do it, makipag-usap ng maayos sa management. Boss, pinapabalik na po ninyo ako. I acknowledge that. However, hindi po talaga ako komportable. Would it be possible na until such time na mabakunahan ako or mawala ito, baka pwedeng you keep me on the sidelines. Walang problema sa akin, sir. Parang I'm just on standby. Huwag nyo lang po muna akong pilitin na pumasok. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, kung sakali yung negosyo po, allowed naman by the government regulations to operate, may karapatan po ang negosyo na pabalikin ka para magtrabaho. Bakit? Kasi it doesn't make sense magdi-disbalance naman tayo. Kung lahat na lang ng gusto ng empleyado, doon tayo susunod. Kung susundan po natin yan to its extreme, wala pong negosyong magbubukas. Kasi lahat ayaw pumasok. Hindi naman po pwede yun. So we have to find the balancing point in the middle. So, pinapabalikan ng negosyo, ayaw mong pumasok, no problem, kausapin mo. Kung hindi talaga pwede, tingin ko, another alternative would be, you might consider resigning na. At least, makaka-exit ka ng trabaho nang maayos, malinis po yung cut, malinis yung pagkaka-separate mo from your employer. And down the line, when things improve, walang masamang tinapay, di ba? Pwede ka mag-apply ulit kasi nagpaalam ka naman ng maayos. Versus, hindi mo papansinin. Naku, totoo lang po, hirap na hirap ang mga negosyante ngayon to maintain the business. And then, kung sakaling hindi pa cooperative yung empleyado, na pwede naman makipag-uusap eh. Tingin ko. But that's me. That's me and that's what we recommend po sa mga students and clients namin. wala pong hindi nadadaan sa usapan.
Yes.
Na medyo bastos po kasi yung dating eh. Kapag pinapasok ka na, hindi mo man lang papansinin, hindi mo i-acknowledge, or minsan palaban pa. I don't think that's a helpful attitude at this point in time kasi lahat po ng negosyo naghihirap.
Parang yung iba kasi malaki ang ulo, di ba? O, kailangan mo ko. Parang something like that.
Attitude
Could be.
problem.
It's an unhealthy attitude. And unfortunately po, may legal ramifications kasi they're basically setting themselves up for termination based on just process. That's not a good thing to have on your record.
Yeah.
Totoo lang.
Oo. Yun nga po minsan some of the employees, that's what they don't understand. Eh. Kasi feeling nila, oh, madami naman pwede akong pumasok sa iba or something. But then, kaya nga diba yung ibang companies, they require a certificate of, ano ba yun? Good conduct, something like that in your next, next
From
job.
your previous employer.
Oo.
Are you talking about clearance or certificate of employment?
Some companies, they parang it's some sort of like a recommendation. It comes like a recommendation.
Okay. But to be clear, ma'am, that's not a legal requirement. That's not under the labor code, but it's nice to have.
Employment.
It's nice to have.
More than a certificate of employment. At meron lang akong question about kanina before we segue.
Yes.
By the way, we don't. Hindi kasi tanong ko lang, kung required by mga companies na kasi because of this health protocols and all of this, na kailangan munang ituro o i-explain muna sa mga employees about this COVID-19 protocols and all of this. Hindi po ba yung mga bagong regulations and guidelines from DOLE before they can enforce it? Kasi pwede sabihin ng mga empleyado, ay hindi namin kasi alam yan. We know that ignorance is not an excuse of the law, is not an excuse. Pero parang kailangan ba yan? Kasi minsan dyan natatalo-talo yung
I would say yes, at least an orientation na ito na ngayon yung kalakaran natin. That way, kung sakali magkaroon ng violation, we can always say na, oh, di ba pinagsabihan ka naman?
At the very least, you can have those regulations posted somewhere.
Posted, no? In the area.
At least may notice to everyone.
I think that's a good question.
So, communication pa rin is the key.
Communication.
Definitely.
Paano yung attorney or an attorney Ramon? Paano niya sabi ng employee, I'd like to work from home I don't like to go to the office. Paano na yan?
It's not demandable by right. Definitely. Parang you cannot compel your employer na, okay, so ito lang ang acceptable sa akin ngayon eh. You cannot demand. However, you can always talk and negotiate. Well, again, going back to what I said, there's always a middle ground na pwede naman pag-usapan. Na if it can't, may mga trabaho kasi na hindi talaga pwede. Paano mo gagawin from home?
Deliver,
Hugasan mo yung mga plato sa office. Paano mo gagawin sa bahay? Or ayusin mo yung stocks din sa stock room natin. Diba? There has to be communication there. I don't think it can be compelled, but it can definitely be put up for discussion. That's my position.
So parang yung pwedeng, sabi mo nga, pwedeng, you can come up with a certain arrangement, work arrangement. Pwede being some days you work from home, some days you report to the office.
The point Tita Beth says, hindi tayo aabot dun sa ganong klaseng arrangements kung hindi na pag-usapan in the first place. So we still go back. Communication is the key.
Communication is the key talaga. Okay.
So kaya lang is there a law or something that DOLE has na, how do you monitor naman the work from home arrangement?
Okay. So the law, I forget the particular advisory. The law allows you to monitor because that's part of management prerogative. So what does management prerogative mean? Management prerogative means that you are given leeway in the way you run your business. And that includes work assignments, how you monitor, how you discipline, how you assign work. Now,
flexible.
And that includes flexible work arrangements. I think it's Labor Advisory 9 series of 2020. You guys might want to check that out. Now, the main thing about this is the way you monitor your employees is up to you. Kasi iba-iba po ang trabaho. So you pick whatever monitoring method makes sense for what you're trying to do. So kung kumari, yung trabaho ng empleyado is to write reports or write articles. So magkakaiba kasi ng metrics, Tita Bets, di ba? So for some employers, ako, I value time. So gusto ko naka-clock in. O alas 8, dapat nakaupo ka dyan. Babantayan kita sa webcam mo, ha? Dapat nakaupo ka dyan. Pwedeng ganun, if that matters to you. But for us, kami ni Attorney Ramon, we are an output-based team. So ako, hindi ako nagbabantay ng mga tao ko. What we do at the start of the week, we set out targets.
So it's more of
it's your call how you want to achieve those targets. So kung sinabi ko yung report na to, dapat tapos ito by Wednesday. Hindi kita babantayan, pero by Wednesday, I expect that to be in my inbox or
more of productivity-based ang magiging metrics in determining work from home arrangement.
That's what you call output-based metrics naman po. So iba-iba po. The law does not confine you to one specific way of doing things. Depende po sa diskarte ng negosyo ninyo. Apply what works. At saka, dagdag ko po pala, ang daming software ngayon to monitor. So kung sakaling gusto mong i-monitor yung mga empleyado mo na nagta-type, nilalag po ng system. Hanggang kailan nagta-type, or minsan nagra-random na webcam shot kung talagang nakaupo doon na nagtatrabaho yung empleyado. If that's the method that you choose.
Dati we used to use Time Doctor or something. Bigla na lang yung nag-screenshot ng
That's one way of doing it. So again po, just to recap from the legal side, wala pong specific requirement. You're free to monitor the way you want to.
Sa experience nyo through this pandemic, what are the usual problems of MSMEs during this time?
Well, actually, ang dami pong problema, but we were able to categorize it into 3 major problems po. And the 3, the first one, let's talk about the first one. It's regarding the population and the movement po ng mga tao. Kasabay po ng ECQ, MECQ, ngayon alert level 3, alert level 4.
Nakakalito na.
Well, aside from the fact na nakakalito sometimes.
That's right.
Another problem that pops up is yung mobility po ng mga tao. Kasi kapag yung mga tao po restricted from going from one place to another, di ba? In terms of access to products and services, sino pagbibentahan mo? So that's one big problem with the lockdowns, with the restrictions. Yung demand for services and products, bigla po nag-plummet. So that's one major problem that we're seeing right now with clients, with the economy at large. The second category po na nakikita namin is public transport. At some alert levels, nire-restrict po kasi, di ba, yung public transport. Ano po yung ripple effect nito? Bukas nga yung negosyo mo, pero hindi makapasok yung mga empleyado. Correct? So that's one major thing. Another thing is, pagpasok po ng supplies that you need. Napapansin po namin, little things, bond paper sometimes, or stapler, wala kang mabili kasi nga naipit po yung supply chain at the time. So mga ganun kasimple, nagkaka-effect na. What more for bigger things like raw materials, diba? For shipments that are supposed to come in from abroad, which you need for manufacturing. So that's another
Actually, right now, I think medyo na nafe-feel na Kasi through the months nung umpisa, meron pang mga stocks yan, meron pang mga, di ba? So right now, along the way, nagkakaubusan na. Hanggang sa ngayon, nagkaka-problem na. And then, come November, December, syempre, people are looking forward to more demand. Kaya, yung delivery naman, ang nagkaka-problem din, parang just the other day, I think a friend was telling me, tubig nga lang Di ba yung tubig, yung the purified water, hindi nga maka-deliver. So, it's a logistics, madaming aspect.
But there's a third category that we're seeing. And the third thing is the way you operate your business. Kasi there are some restrictions where in some businesses and services, bawal po totally. Mga gym, mga salon, mga ano pa ba?
Restaurants.
Actually, madami. Wala lang akong maisip ngayon na exhaustive list.
Hospitality.
Ayan na nga eh. So, we don't know where this is going to lead us. So, well, we just hope for the best and hopefully, huwag nang mag-issue ng new laws ang ang dole.
No, laws are good if it is well thought out and basically it makes adjustments. Actually, Tita Bets, delikado rin if we don't get new laws. Kasi may ipit tayo dun sa mga issuances from last year pa, di ba? Ayoko rin yun.
Maybe the better word is to update the laws to adapt to the times. Relevant.
Make it more flexible to what's happening right now.
Oo. Parang kailangan i-review na kasi it's already 1 year ahead and we already know kung ano yung mga dapat na sundan, ano yung mga dapat na gawin para to help all of us, employers and employees and citizens and government to reach that correct balance, diba? As you've said, there's always dapat balance din yung hinahabol natin.
Ako naman, as a lawyer, sometimes we are asked to create laws and policies, medyo kasama sa trabaho yan. The people in government are trying their best to cope and be flexible. Pero tingin ko nire-recognize ko rin, ang laki rin kasi talaga ng problema, totoo lang. So parang I give them the benefit of the doubt, I trust them, and I pray for them that they would be able to cope and make things more flexible as soon as possible. I know they're doing their best. Pero ang laki lang kasi talaga rin ang problema, totoo lang.
Lahat kasi wants to have a dip in the pie. But government will work if, young people like you will always be giving your suggestions, your comments. Kasi that's what I find like in TTI ngayon. Ang dami nilang mga surveys, mga ganyan. Kaya kung mapapansin nyo, I think I'm not so sure if DTI is one of the better successful agencies.
Is very proactive. Very proactive.
Tsaka very yung, alam mo yun, medyo mas maganda yung their goal is to really create entrepreneurs, di ba? Yes. Business, Philippine economy. And so far naman, nagagawa naman yan. Kaya lang, yun na nga, everything has to be, dapat holistic din yung approach. Kasi hindi naman pwedeng yun just sa DTI who's working. Everybody should be working kasi everyone is interrelated. Tama ba? So, kaya lang, so ready late na tayo. Kaya sana, I still have more questions for Attorney Erwin and Attorney Ramon. But, I hope that all of you are happy that we have gotten a lot of insights, diba? Very practical na mga na suggestions and informations from Attorney Erwin and Attorney Ramon. So Attorney Erwin, Attorney Ramon, what takeaway can you share with our listeners before we wrap up?
Go ahead, brother.
Sige. I think there's a very, very big need for balance right now. What we're seeing is sometimes nahahati po kasi into two camps pagdating sa negosyo. One is management and one is employees. Now, we are fortunate because we actually get to listen to both. We have students who are part of management, part of the employment pool. So lahat yan naririnig namin. And what we're hearing is from one end, kunwari mga empleyado, may mga reklamo na ano ba naman yan? Bakit wala pa rin increase? Hirap na ako sa buhay ko. Bakit hindi ako napopromote? Ano ba naman si boss? Bakit ito lang ang binibigay na trabaho? Wala na naman bonus, di ba? Yun ang naririnig ko on this end. But what they're not aware of is on the other end, actually, naghihimutok din yung mga nasa management side na hindi pa nila naiintindihan na life or death situation tayo ngayon. Survival mode ng kumpanya ngayon. Pasalamat nga sila, wala tayong tinanggal. Or we're doing our best na hindi tayo magtanggal ng tao as much as we can. We are trying to protect them. I think the reckoning point here is there needs to be balance and empathy between the two groups. So the next time you guys are tempted to complain na parang, bakit ganito? Why is this happening to me? Try to expand and apply some empathy. Try to look at things from the other side of the fence. Kung empleyado ka, try to look at your situation from management's point of view. If you're management, try to understand na yung mga empleyado takot din yan right now. They are uncertain, they are unclear as to what the future can bring. And a little bit of empathy can go a long way towards ensuring that your business survives this pandemic. Ba? This is not the time na pagturuan at saka magsisihan. It's time to support each other.
Right. Oo.
Very
Yeah,
well
very
said.
nice words of wisdom yan, for
Yes.
both sides.
Attorney
If
Ramon.
you're an employee. Yeah.
No, actually,
Yun na yun.
that's our collective
Collective
uh,
takeaway.
message for everyone.
Empathy and balance.
Empathy and balance.
Empathy
And communication.
balance.
And communication.
And communication kanina, yeah. We got 3 takeaways here. Yeah. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
So
Thank
Tita
you
Bets,
very much to both of you. Oo. So,
We're very happy to help. And in case that your viewers are having other legal questions in their mind stuck na parang, attorney, paano ba yung ganito? Paano ba yung ganyan? We're very happy to help. They can always visit us at www.legalguide.ph. We have a lot of materials there, and your viewers are welcome to enjoy them as well.
Right. And
Thank you very
also,
much.
they have a Facebook page. Yeah, that one. Yung kalagay dyan.
Kasulat na ba?
Legal Guide Philippines. Yan yun. Just
Ah,
search for
okay. That's the Facebook page nila. Actually,
Yes.
madami ding problem yan sa estate. Kasi madaming biglang namamatay.
Ay, expertise din po nila yan. Yan yung unang topic namin 2 years ago. When we,
Ako, ma'am, if you'll allow me,
You
we
write
actually
books,
have
diba?
a free booklet
Oh,
which we will
Ayaw
be
mo
making
sinasabi
available
kong
for your
free,
for your reader viewers and listeners as well. They can
Mm-hmm.
go to info.legalguide.ph/ask. They can download the book from there. Ayan. So this is about estate settlement. Get it while it's available po.
Oo. That's very nice news. Thank you very much. Oo. Kasi nga, ng 2023 na, di ba, in-extend yung the
Yes,
estate,
yung amnesty.
Yes,
amnesty. Although may amnesty uli si Yorme naman sa Manila. Iba naman siya. Business taxes.
Buti na lang
naman
po
po
may
yun.
amnesty nga sa inheritance tax kasi sobrang daming premature deaths, di ba? So sad to see it on our...
Tsaka buti na lang din na napas na nila yung train law, making it 6% yung sa transfer of properties, di ba?
Tita Bets, may episode po kami niyan on our Facebook page. You can watch it.
Oh, yan. Kasi nga yan din, that is the other question then I think a lot of people would like to know about. Kasi nga, di ba, COVID, madaming biglang namatay. So, although the family, sabi ko nga, the family is grieving, but tax is tax. So, they will still be taxed, di ba? So, kailangan din ayusin. Tama.
Tita Bets, ito po, I'll say this on air. Kung sakali mag-request po yung mga viewers and listeners ninyo ng another episode on estate, we will be happy to assist.
Oh, thank you very much. I like that. Naku, we will remember that, Attorney Erwin. And I think there will also be nice questions about estate planning. Kasi yan that's financial health naman. Alam mo naman kami, health ang pag-uusapan. Health pa rin siya. It's still financial health. Oo, right. Oo. So thank you very much.
Take care of your legal health. Download our book.
Legal health. Oo nga.
Legal health. Tama.
Gagawin ko yan. Nagagawin ko yan. Ako
Thank
yung
you so
unang
much.
magka-type.
Kasi everything is interconnected. So we have to really be holistic in our planning, in our approach, in our life. Okay, so thank you po. So don't forget, Legal Guide Philippines Facebook page, and also ang dami freebies nila. Check out their website. Thank you so much.
That's
Attorney
Attorney Erwin Sagala and Attorney Ramon Ramirez. Yan. Thank you.
Yan. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Yan.